to yes on what you're looking for.
Sean is a master. He teaches. It's not just about sharing the formula with you. It's about making sure that we learn.
I went from $100,000 in debt from law school to having no money and starting my own law firm on my credit card to selling it 4 years later.
Sean and I, we co-created massive victories in 2 unwinnable jury trials, which are recognized nationally now as top 100 jury verdicts.
To be even on the same track with you, who I respect and admire and love with all my heart.
Never again submit. You're not better and you're not less than any human on earth.
When you shared with us about the unblinded process and the mastery sales training, I just went, wow.
Sean will gain proximity to the most influential and powerful people. He will find out how he can grow their business, how he can help them personally. But the third thing that he does is the most important. Sean serves without an expectation of getting anything in return.
You have very, very high-performing colleagues.
22 years ago, you transformed my life as you did all these people's lives over the course of time. I couldn't be more grateful. Let's hear it for Tony Robbins.
I don't see him as a lawyer, and I don't see him as a blind person. Someone who has subjugated his ego, who has taught me what serving really looks like.
You have this incredible ability to just have unconditional love for everyone, and that is just an incredible gift.
The moment you have been waiting for.
The American Blind Association is the first new face and voice of that association since Helen Keller.
Formula for formulas, which is exactly what I've learned from Sean. It's a language-based predictable model. We will have over 300 new sales meetings this month.
This superpower in the world that is attainable for you is the ability to influence people. If you believe that, say yes. If you believe that, say yes.
Do you think that worked?
I do think that worked, Mr. Glenn Wagstaff. Oh, there's the reverb. My co-host will be here momentarily, but welcome to the Empowered Heart of Influence with Glenn Wagstaff and team. And to kick this off, coming from Newark, New Jersey.
That's right, Bella Rita.
What's that?
That's right, Bella Rita.
That's right, Sean Callaghy.
Happy Why Wednesday. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank Glenn Wagstaff, team, crew. Let's go, Bell.
Let's go. From Newark, New Jersey, dynamic entrepreneur, author, and speaker known for visionary leadership, enabling people to reach their full potential. Owner and CEO of a minority multimedia platform, inspiring and encouraging human greatness in all aspects of life. Actively involved in philanthropic activities, founder of a foundation providing scholarship and educational opportunities for future leaders. Let's welcome to the show, Travis Jones.
Travis, welcome to Glenn Wagstaff, Heart of Influence on this Why Wednesday. So thankful for you to be here. And Plato, the Greek philosopher. Now, by the way, we think Glenn was good friends with Plato. But Plato said, play a game with me for an hour and we will learn more about each other than if we speak for a year. So to kick this game off and have us get to know each other a little bit, we're asking for a fun fact. It's a headline. It could be a surprising moment, shocking moment, a mysterious moment, a funny moment, anything that would make us say, no way. So please, your fun fact.
So my fun fact is I was originally born in Mali, West Africa. It's distinguished because it's the same place where King Mansa Musa was, which he was a legendary African king, and he was at one point the most wealthiest man in the world. So wow. That's my fun fact.
That's your heritage. And we appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much for being here. Bella, we have the descendants of kings in the space. Let's go.
Descendants of kings, no doubt. And coming from Big Canoe, Georgia, in the insurance space for most of his life. Previously VP of Marketing Consulting, stepping away after partner dispute in the last 3 years. started a networking organization in 1999, I think when he was 5 years old, began speaking and introducing people to each other that could and would create more together, directs every two people he introduced to do the same for another two, the business networking version of the movie Pay It Forward. Doing yoga right before we started, let's welcome Bob Littell.
Bob, I'm hearing canoeing, downward dogging, and paying it forward. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yes, and let me say that my kind of title piece and my label is a fellow that lives fairly close to me, and I've really loved meeting him. And his name is Colonel Lee Ellis. And Lee was a POW in Vietnam along with John McCain for 5.5 years. And he wrote a book called Leading with Honor, Leadership Lessons from the Hanoi Hilton. And frankly, when you read that book or a summary that I've sent around to a number of people, you just not only say, thank God for where I am today, but to read the story of how during those hardships they maintained their leadership, their camaraderie, and how they came back literally with very few of them suffering from PTSD. It's amazing.
Incredible. Well, thank you for that. Bella's dad is a 2-time combat tour veteran in Vietnam, 1-time Desert Storm. So present too in our hearts. And Bob, we thank you for being here today and powerfully sharing that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bella.
Next up, from New York, 11 years as a CPA in public accounting and tax advisory, currently runs 2 firms under one brand name with a team of 8 professionals. Tax advisory services offered for healthcare, real estate, creative arts, and family-owned businesses focused on strategic planning and compliance, tax resolution handling, complete federal, state, and municipal controversies, including audits, trusted recovery, and passport revocation. Let's welcome to the show, Vasil Kochler.
And Bella, I just got a very weird, not wellness component come over me. So can you take it from here for a few? I apologize, guys. I'll try you back in a few.
Yes, absolutely. So Vasil, your fun fact, please.
So I was born in the Carpathians of Western Ukraine, and sometimes I think it's easy to look at that region as pretty homogeneous. But when I did a DNA test, it showed like 16 different nationalities. So as a reference point, average American has like 4 nationalities through DNA. So I was like amazed myself to find out like the diversity of the Carpathian region.
Wow, that is an incredible fun fact. Vasil, thank you for enlightening us. Probably something none of us knew. So thank you for that, Vasil. And Vasil, are you ready to have some fun today with Glenn Wagstaff and the rest?
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to it.
All right, let's do it. Next up, from Derby, Connecticut, a business performance advisor delivering tailored HR services focused on growth, reducing risk, and driving long-term success. An expert in HR, financial acumen, and professional services, building strategic partnerships, revenue growth, and optimizing operations. A proud husband and dad and a baby girl on the way due this Thanksgiving. Congratulations. Let's welcome to the show, Juan Piez Romero.
Thank you, Bella.
Thank you, Juan. Welcome to the Heart of Influence. And Juan, your fun fact.
So coming in from Connecticut or from Ecuador, it is the only place where you can step on both hemispheres at the same time, which I was able to do right in the middle of the earth in Ecuador.
Whoa, Juan is like stepping in multi-universes at the same time. Juan, that is pretty cool. And are you ready to have some fun on the Heart of Influence today?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Next up, from New York, a decade in the corporate world, and decided to contribute more by working directly with the community. Proud owner and operator of a consulting business specializing in cost reduction, helping businesses optimize operations. Travels all off the beaten path and mountain bikes through rugged terrain, an avid reader and always eager to learn and grow more, both personally and professionally. Let's welcome to the show, Tatiana. Tatiana, welcome to the Heart of Influence, our token other lady of the show. I don't know if Glenn and team were discriminating today, but you get to be the highlight. And Tatiana, how about your fun fact?
We're just afraid of talking to women. That's all.
We're afraid of talking to women.
That's why there was a silent meditation. Well, I don't know. My fun fact is not as fun, I guess, as others, but it's fun for me because, as my bio already said, I used to be a mountain biker. And when usually guys would see me, they would not see me as a competitor, I guess. But then, you know, I would pass them, and then what happened was sometimes when I see those guys, they would stop and let me go because the way they put it, they didn't want me to embarrass them over and over again when I was just like, Zoom. That's my fact.
That is a super fun fact, Tatiana. So I'm hearing you crushed the boys, but you don't want to embarrass them. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, they didn't want to be embarrassed by me. That's why
they didn't want to be embarrassed.
Stop and let me pass, and then I would start writing because they just didn't. I guess I don't know. Psychologically, they didn't like the fact that I would just like zoom past them.
Yeah, it is an ego thing. We won't get into that today because that's not what the show is about. Glenn, I can see why you're a little bit afraid, but we'll work on that just a little bit. But Tatiana, are you ready to have some fun?
Of course, always.
Awesome. And of course, the person that brought us all here together, he and his team from Provo, Utah, managing partner of the #1 trust and estate firm in the country, handling estate planning options for every situation and price range. Director at a financial management firm, managing a team of financial professionals, assisting families and small businesses in planning their financial future. Practicing attorney for 10 years, looking to shift the paradigm of business growth and relationship building for the entire industry. Let's welcome to the show none other than Glenn Wagstaff. Glenn, hello. Welcome to your Heart of Influence. And what kind of fun fact do you have for these fine folks today?
Well, it's good to see you. I am actually at an all-day continuing education for intellectual property in China today. And I don't do any work in China, but we started recently consulting international companies that want to launch in the United States and primarily in Latin America. And so it's interesting. I'm learning all about international intellectual property.
That is, and now, did you actually have to go to China to take this continuing education?
We're
or do
here
you
in
just
Utah.
get to like be right in Utah and like your mindset is in China?
Yep. Just here with a lot of people from all over the place, learning about Chinese laws.
Nice. So Glenn, I have one important question though right now.
All right.
What's the price of tea in China right now?
I haven't, they keep that very close to the vest. They haven't shared that with me yet.
They haven't shared that and it's not part of the continuing ed classes today.
I'll ask somebody.
Okay, perfect. Well, Glenn, are you ready to have some fun on your Heart of Influence?
Of course.
So I just got a text message from Sean, and he is in immense amount of pain right now. I'm not sure if he's actually going to be back, which this has never happened before. And he is someone who has a very high pain threshold. Something is happening right now. So this is very unusual. And so, Glenn, are you up for continuing the show with me and stepping into some different roles today?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, let's do it. So typically, this show is all about the superpower of influence, as Sean shared. And we play this little game because Plato did say, play a game with me for an hour and we will learn more about each other than if we spoke for a year. So we get to have some fun. And we got Glenn going to be in the role player seat. And so Travis, Glenn will be anyone you want him to be that you would like to go from hello to yes with. He could be the king. He could be the famous author that you were speaking to, or just an ideal client, someone that you would like to get a yes from. And this is not like Wolf of Wall Street meets the Boiler Room. It is literally like, could just be for a longer meeting. So Travis, who would you like Glenn to be?
I would say a potential client.
A potential client. And who would a potential client be? What would be like the demographic? What would they be doing?
I would say the superintendent of schools of, let's say, East Orange, New Jersey.
Ooh, so Glenn, are you up for being a superintendent of a school from East Orange, New Jersey?
Let's do it.
All right, Travis, got 3 minutes. Take us in.
All right, perfect. Glenn, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for this opportunity to connect with you. I'll be short, direct, and to the point. East Orange, New Jersey is the city that I was born and raised. I've seen a lot of friends and family who didn't make it until their elementary to high school years. A big opportunity that I see firsthand is that there's a missing connection between the mental health, leadership, and financial literacy gap in our community. Now, your question to me, Glenn, is why Rich Purpose? Rich Purpose is a transformative company that leads and inspires by being not only masters from a theoretical perspective, but being actual practitioners in the field. What do I mean by that? I start by saying that my story, the birth of Rich Purpose, was born out of tragedy. On May 18, 2021, it was a tumultuous, terrible day for me. And I say terrible because it's a day when ultimately that I realized that I didn't want to live anymore. What I did was I took a 9mm STR 9mm handgun and I blew a watermelon-sized hole into my left chest cavity. How does a man that graduates Rutgers University, is a valedictorian in high school, how does he lose his mental capacity to not want to live anymore? This happened because I felt as though as a man that I didn't need coping skills. I felt like I didn't need therapy. I felt like I didn't need a team around me to help me. So when things got hard, I tried to do everything myself. After the death of my father from COVID-19, and then I lost my corporate job, which I tied my entire identity to, I lost my sense of purpose and my sense of inspiration for living. I was a district manager with Enterprise Rent-A-Car for 10 years. And when I got laid off due to COVID, I didn't know how to transition and pivot. And I didn't realize that by my being laid off was actually the opportunity, God giving me the opportunity to live out my rich purpose, which is the reason that I'm here today. Me and my partners, we started Rich Purpose Educational Services to be a liaison and a direct connector in our communities. We've already established a great program in New Brunswick, New Jersey, in which we teach social emotional learning skills. We teach kids mental health skills, leadership, and financial literacy skills. We're here today to make an impact and a difference. And I tell my story not as a sob story, but as a perseverance and triumph story. The reason I tell my story is because so many kids are looking for ways to develop and grow, but don't have the initial foundation and skill set. That's where Rich Purpose comes into play. We create a cultivating.
Travis, sorry to interrupt you. I have to take another call.
Okay.
But I'm very inspired by your story, and maybe we can connect again.
Okay. All right.
Beautiful. Thank you, Travis. Great job, Travis. Sorry to hear about your father, but phenomenal job. And we'll get to the feedbackers in just a moment. And since our other participant is not here, and Juan, you did say that you and Travis were going to be best friends. Are you up for jumping into that participant seat next to Travis there?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. And so, Juan, who would you like Glenn Wagstaff to be?
I would love Glenn to be Glenn.
Glenn, are you up for playing the role of Glenn? This could be an Academy Award winner. Are you up for it?
I haven't gotten tired of that role yet.
I haven't gotten tired of that role. Glenn Wagstaff playing Glenn Wagstaff, everyone. Juan, take us in.
Absolutely. Glenn, and just to recap information, I'd love to get a better understanding in terms of your certain industry or organization. If I'm not mistaken, you currently have employees under your business?
Yeah, we have a number of employees. We have a lot of independent contractors that work with us as well. And, we have multiple businesses. So we have different staff in different businesses.
Oh, perfect. Now, in terms of, and I'm not sure, have you heard of Insperity before or know who we are by any chance?
No, not really. I mean, they told me that we'd have this meeting, but they didn't really tell me anything about you.
No worries at all. So, Glenn, just to give you a little bit of insight, what Insperity does is we work with organizations, whether small, medium-sized, or large organizations, really depending on where they are in terms of their growth, where they're looking to get to, or where they are. We help you transition from a traditional model of HR outsourcing into what's called co-employment. Have you heard of co-employment before? Maybe familiar with the terminology?
Yeah. I had a client of mine that got into that and had us research a number of different things regarding it. So I'm a little bit familiar. Yeah.
Perfect. That's great. So you already have maybe an advantage of who we are and what we do. But to get some insight of this industry that we're in, traditional model is probably what 90 to 95% of businesses have. They outsource payroll, they outsource benefits, they outsource workers' compensation, and there's many vendors, brokers, partners that you have to work with. Now, if you can transition into a co-employment model where everything is reallocated, all your expenses are reallocated to one single platform, do you believe that would be beneficial to a business, whether yours or other businesses in today's world?
I mean, it'd certainly make it easier, right? One of the big things is just coordinating with all the different vendors. So yeah, I think that would be helpful.
Absolutely. So as we have these conversations and you get to know a little bit more about who Insperity is and what we do, there's a lot of ways we differ from competitors. I'm not here to badmouth any competitors in the industry, but we do have a different approach. One of the most important things, it's our service. It's how we work directly with our clients. And it's not a one-off sale, right? It's not transactional. Our goal is for long-term relationships. We want to work with you throughout the growth, through a plateau, through a decrease. We want to make sure that we're with you through every step. Now, in terms of what else we bring to the table is we have a direct buying power for our benefits, which in a lot of scenarios, many companies have to go either through a broker, they have to go to the open market, and you are going to be crushed by those numbers. Being that Insperity is a Fortune 500 company, we have the buying power with United Healthcare nationwide to provide your employees Fortune 500 benefits, even if you're not a Fortune 500 company. Is that something that would be beneficial, right? Bringing, retaining talent, but also bringing top talent from finish time. Sorry.
It does sound interesting. I have to take another call.
Thank you, Glenn.
Juan's not messing around. Phenomenal job, Juan. I love the certainty and the directness. And this is the time in the show that we get to go to the judges. Judges, we get to give 30 seconds of feedback. We get to give back in the form of feedback, 30 seconds of feedback for either Travis or Juan, something that they did great, something that they could do to improve, and then a little next step scoring system. That next step could look like maybe you'd rather go to the dentist and have a root canal than have a longer conversation with Juan or Travis. I don't think anyone's going to need a root canal today. So maybe that next step is a little mocha chocolate at Starbucks, maybe a little croissant or a cake lollipop to go with that coffee, and maybe for a little bit longer of a meeting. If that's not enough time, you would be willing to go rent a private room at the Capitol Grill, getting the seafood tower and the nice juicy steak, unless you're vegan, of course, which I don't think is Juan, but if you are a vegan, maybe you're having salad and French fries, but you're not going to skip out on dessert because you do want to have the longest meeting possible. And if that's still not enough time, you would be willing to rent a private jet, of course, pick up Glenn because he did invite you here, and pick up Juan or Travis and maybe fly to China so you have the longest meeting possible. And so we'll kick this off. And Glenn, I did talk to my co-host during that role play, and he is definitely very sick at the current moment, hugging the porcelain god for don't know what happened, but he is very, very sick, so he's not going to be back. So Glenn, I'm letting you know that because I typically put my co-host on the hot seat in a scenario that he has no idea about. So I'm going to be letting you put me on the hot seat in a scenario that I have no idea about. So that gives you a couple minutes to think about it. But we'll kick the judging off with Bob. And Bob, how about your 30 seconds of feedback for Travis?
Travis, in fact, I'm going to actually counter a little bit to Juan. Did you notice how early on Juan got Glenn involved in the conversation? Rather than a one-way conversation, he immediately got the individual involved in it. And by virtue of that, it didn't come across as much as a sales pitch as a conversation of, how can I help you? Would this be a value? More of the question, would this be of value to you?
Great feedback, Bob. And so, Bob, what's the next step with Travis? So we have a little mocha chocolate, little Capital Grill. Where are we going?
Well, I think the thing is, whenever I ever go into a situation, one of the things I'm thinking of ahead of time is what questions am I going to ask that are going to get the individual involved in the conversation.
Yeah, and so Bob, like, what are the next steps with Travis? So if you were going to take a next step, was it like you're going to the dentist or maybe you're having a cup of coffee? Like, what would be the next step?
Oh, you mean for the two of us?
Yes.
Oh, well,
maybe you're going to do a yoga class together.
Yeah, well, first thing I would do, which once again, my nickname is, or you gave me a one word, I'm a connector. So the first thing I'm thinking of, who do I know that I could introduce Travis to? First thing I'd have him do is send me his bio so that I'd have more information than just
so the next step is he's just sending you some information. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, that's just for me to be able to have a better conversation with and be able to target better the individual that I'm going to host a meeting.
So you're going to host a gathering and get together. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Awesome. Great job. Thank you for that, Bob. And let's go, Tatiana. How about your 30 seconds of feedback for Juan?
Well, yes, I agree with Bob that I did like the fact that Juan involved Glenn almost immediately into this conversation. So I think asking questions and letting people talk about themselves definitely helpful. But at the end, it's a little bit was. It did turn a little bit into the sales pitch. I think, like, yes, I think it's better to have more question answers.
Got it. Thank you for that, Tatiana. And what's the next steps with Juan?
Coffee or dentist?
Coffee or the dentist, you're saying?
No, I mean,
is it like coffee, like a meal, private jet? Like, what's next?
I always go for private jet.
and Tatiana, where is that private jet going?
Maybe to Ecuador. It's actually one of the countries on my list.
I was going to say, you won't regret it. We'll go.
Ecuador, he's going. So let's go. Vasil, how about your 30 seconds of feedback for Juan?
Yeah, I can echo with what was said, that anytime you can make it into a dialogue and going back and forth rather than just one-sided pitch, that would go a long way in building the emotional rapport. So I think I did like what, like Travis said, it was like leading with vulnerability, and I think that's a really good connecting story. And I think if you could use that story as a backdrop, and then perhaps say, did you have any low points in your life? How did you feel? Now draw the person in and then say, well, I responded this way. Now I'm passionate about schools. How did you respond to your low point in life? You know, something to that effect, I think would be more efficient. And then with one, I think, you know, it was like very inspirational driven. So like I can echo Tatiana that it's like turned very much about, well, we are different X, Y, Z ways. It was talking about benefits way too soon without building more of the emotional rapport first.
Beautiful. Love it. And so, Vasil, what is the next steps for you? What's the next steps with Travis?
And the options, could you tell me the options again?
The dentist, the coffee, the meal, the private jet.
Yeah, I think I would go coffee with both and just probe a bit deeper and just, you know, get to learn more. I think sometimes it would be even to say like, hold off, like I've got that point, let me ask you about something else.
Yes, thank you for that, Vasil. Giving a little feedback to Juan and Travis. And let's go, Glenn. How about your 30 seconds of feedback for, let's go, how about if you can manage this, 15 seconds of feedback and a next step for each of them. Can you do 15 seconds?
Sure.
Let's go.
So, you know, I definitely agree with some of the comments that were made earlier, Travis, about engaging with the other side and making sure that it's a conversation and not just a monologue. But some of the things you shared were very inspiring and very passionate. And I would connect it to the specific conversation you're having, right? Because you're drawing upon your personal past, but you're a product of the system, right? And so tie it into the conversation that you're having with them. And that's the feedback I would give. And I probably would do, I guess we go to a coffee shop.
Awesome. And Glenn, what is the next step? Oh, you said a coffee shop. And hello, Sean. Welcome back.
Hey, apologies to everybody. I'm still definitely not feeling optimally. Playing hurt, but my apologies. Just a very, very weird, all of a sudden, wave of things happening. But I am here. Glenn, hello, sir. This man is a person that makes things happen in the world at the highest of levels. Truly, Glenn Wagstaff, thank you everybody for being here. Again, never, ever have I, 1,350 shows, left a show during a show. So thank you. And Bella, back to you. And I'm certainly prepared and ready to do my part.
Yes, and I can vouch. You are a very handsome man, and you do not look well at the current moment. You do not look like you normally look. That I can vouch for. So hope you feel better. And Glenn was going to put me on the hot seat with the scenario, so he said he had one ready. So Glenn, I will turn it over to you then, because this is typically the time in the show that I put my co-host on the hot seat in a scenario that he has no idea about. And you know, because Travis, Juan, maybe you guys knew what you were doing, maybe you didn't. And so I usually put Sean on the hot seat in something very challenging. But now I feel bad because he's sick, so I want to be the nice person. So I'm going to put it all on Glenn and make Glenn stick it to him while he's sick. So Glenn, what would you like to see Sean do?
Well, I'm going to change it up, actually, Bella, if you're okay with it. I still want to put you on the hot seat, and Sean can role play with you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's fun, Glenn.
This is fun.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Sean is going to be the son of the original founders of the Berenstain Bears, and he now owns the rights to the Berenstain Bears license. And you, Bella, are calling him to try to get the rights for an indoor theme park.
Oh, this is fun, Glenn. Look at that.
This is fun. And this is like for everybody. Everything that I've learned about influence, I've learned from him. And then I think this is the first time I've ever been put on the hot seat to go from hello to yes with Sean on something somebody else made up. I will do it plenty of times on the own. So let's see how this goes. Sean, are you ready for this?
Yes. So, and who's my name? Just Mr. Jones, or is there a specific name?
Mr. Berenstain.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Berenstain. Yep, Bella. I'm Sean Berenstain.
Sean Berenstein. Okay. Hello, is this Mr. Berenstein?
It is.
Hello, Mr. Berenstein. I can tell by your voice, there may be a little bit of hesitation. Your team scheduled a 3-minute call for us today. Is it still a good time?
It is. Is this Bella?
This is Bella, yes.
Yeah. Hi, Bella. It is Sean Berenstein. It's a pleasure to meet you. The team said a lot of great things about you.
Well, thank you very much. They said a lot of great things. And do you prefer to go by Sean or Mr. Berenstein?
Sean's fine. Thank you.
Sean. Well, Sean, first of all, thank you for taking my call. And let me ask you, what made you take this call in the first place?
Well, I know you had a conversation about the rights, and you know, there's great relevancy to the Berenstain Bears still to this day, but nobody's really approached us at this level. So the team was, a little bit excited about it, and I have concerns, but I also have some open heart and mind. So yeah, that was what was present for us.
Well, I definitely want to get to any concerns that you have. But before we get there, what was your mission with the Berenstain Bears? Like where did the creation of it come from? Why is it a mission and purpose on your heart?
Yeah. So my family had a vision of bringing family together, of causing adults and children to share in lessons, experience with a higher vibrational energy than many things. I mean, I have great appreciation for Bugs Bunny, but that's not what we're looking to do. We were looking for a tinge of fun and humor for sure, but something more heart, soulful, grounded, stable, so we can really cause something for children and for families.
Mr. Sean, I hear the depth of family and soul in your speaking, and that it's not just, something that was easily created, something that, you thought long and hard about, that means a lot to your heart. And I'm hearing the mission of bringing families together in that higher vibrational way to, maybe spend time together, to forge families together. And that's just something that, if you could have a little part of, that was your mission in the world. Am I hearing that correctly?
You're hearing that precisely correctly, Bella. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And, thank you for taking the time to, have this call in about the minute or so that we have left. I'm hearing, bringing families together. And, as the team shared with you, is we have a proposal that would support the furthering of that mission of bringing families together in a live fashion through amusement parks. And as you said, in a very high vibrational way. And so, my question to you is that something that you'd like to further entertain, is an actual theme park for the Berenstain Bears that would be, themed, have the family name with the mission of bringing families together live and in person, would require obviously a little bit longer of a conversation as attaining rights and, things like that. But is that something that would have interest for you?
There would certainly be interest. My concern is the fulfillment. What I would not want to have happen is this fail. And I do, because it failing could really create something negative around the identity of the Berenstain Bears. Disney is so powerful. They've done such an incredible job, of course. And how Warner Brothers is partnered with Six Flags doesn't resonate well with me, because it's not Disney, and it's something different. And I'd love to create something like Disney, the how-to, the likelihood of success, the fundraising, because overall, I just would not want to see this project fail, nor would I want to see it be out of alignment with the identity of the Berenstain Bears. So those are my concerns, but I'm interested and I'm open to a conversation.
Well, thank you for sharing those concerns. And so what I'm hearing is, the identity of the Berenstain Bears is of massive importance for you, and having anything that fails attached to it is just not something that you even want to entertain at all. Is that what I'm hearing?
And there's a great book, The Psychology of Money.
Uh-huh.
And it says that you don't want to risk what you have for something you don't need. So that really applies here. We would love the expansion of the Berenstain Bears have even more relevance, but we don't want to lose what we have. So you're hearing me perfectly correctly. It doesn't mean that we wouldn't be open to, nothing is assured at 100%, but we would really want a lot of certainty because we're a stable brand, we're a stable identity. We're very thankful for where we are, how we've been accepted by America. And this is, again, interesting with concerns and reservations.
Got it. And so, Mr. Sean or Sean, as you said, if I could guarantee that I have done, before we even have our meeting, that I have done extensive market research. In fact, our co-founder, Sean Callaghy, is actually having dinner with the CEO of Disney this evening. And so if I can guarantee before I even come to that presentation that I have a at least 20-point slide detailing how this project could not and would not fail, or I would back it with my own money. If I came to that presentation with that guarantee, is that something that would make you feel comfortable to take that next meeting?
Yes. Bella, your openness, your integrity, the vision, the respect, I don't feel pressured. I feel heard. I would be really grateful for that next meeting. So I'd appreciate that, and I'd look forward to it.
Fantastic. We will move forward with that. That is definitely not the easiest yes I've ever gotten from Sean. Thank you for that, Glenn. And he actually didn't make it easy for me either. And Sean, how did I do first time ever role playing, going from hello to yes with you on the Heart of Influence?
You did great. I would love it if you were that empathetic and respectful in all of our communication. That would be very meaningful to me, Glenn. But you did a wonderful, wonderful job. And I really thought through, like, how would they be reacting, communicating? And that's what I was looking to do. Glenn, brother, I would never have made it here if it wasn't for you and my respect, appreciation, and partnership with you in this show and in certification. I'm immensely grateful. And for everybody, though, I'm going to definitely have to excuse myself. I really don't feel well. And I'm in like a unique amount of pain, which I'm very confused about. So if that's okay, Glenn, I'm going to turn it back to you and Bella and say thank you. And this appearance is, we play hurt around here, and certainly in honor and respect of somebody as extraordinary as Glenn Wagstaff.
Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you for being with us, for the time you could spend with us. And Bella, this was a great show. Thanks for hosting.
How did I do in your scenario?
I think you did I think you did very well. Obviously, having more background and everything on everything might have equipped you a little bit better, but this is exactly the type of scenario that we like to role play. Just
Absolutely.
On the fly, out of nowhere.
I know nothing about the Berenstain Bears at all. Not one thing. I don't even know if it's one bear, two bears, three. I have nothing about the Berenstain Bears, but definitely, and that is always an advantage that Sean has. But Glenn, thank you for that. And shall we check in with our guests, see how their experience was today?
Again.
Yeah.
And so we'll kick it off with Bob. So Bob, thank you for being here today. And how was your experience on the Heart of Influence today?
It was mostly of what I expected, but actually was better than I had expected. Your particular role playing, I thought, was very good, very valuable. And I look forward to following up, especially with Glenn. I have some things in common from background as an expert witness and also head of the Atlanta State Planning Council. So I look forward to meeting and getting to know each one, and hopefully my concept of net weaving is all about being a connector of others, and I hope I can fulfill that role.
Well, Bob, thank you definitely fulfilling that role for sure. And definitely connect with everybody here. And Bob, thank you for being here. And let's go, Tatiana. Tatiana, how was your experience today on Glenn Wagstaff's Heart of Influence?
Yes, I agree with Bob. It was very engaging and educational. So
engaging and educational. Well, thank you. And Tatiana, what was your biggest takeaway?
Biggest takeaway. I don't know.
Well, you said it was very educational, so there had to be like something that was educational. What was the education component?
Okay. The educational component, I like the fact that we actually participated in this, right? We were able to, and I mean, a big applause to Travis and Juan for actually doing this, because they were put on the spot. So for us to be judges was easier than for them. So they did a great job, in my opinion. And education in terms of, yes, the feedback and how people present themselves, because it's always easier to provide this feedback when you look at somebody from the outside versus like, I don't know how I would do in their place. So definitely, I think by doing those kind of like role-playing exercises, that's like, you probably will build your confidence and you probably become more like faster on your feet. Like, yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you for that, Tatiana. Let's go. Vasile. Vasile, how was your time today on Glenn Wagstaff's Heart of Influence?
Yeah, I think usually when we hear feedback, it's usually you did this wrong and you could improve XYZ, which is valuable to a point. But I think the true value of this show today was showing. So when we say behavior impact, alternative behavior, alternative impact, and I feel like the best way to show the alternative impact when you can truly role model or role play. So that role playing piece, I think it's what makes your show fundamentally different, rather than talk in theory what this or that sales conversation could look like.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that feedback. And we do work very hard at that, and that it being, different. So thank you for that, Vasile. And let's go, Juan, jumping into that participant seat. Thank you for doing that. It takes a lot of courage and vulnerability to step into a role that you didn't know that you were going to be playing, and doing a phenomenal job. And so, Juan, how was your time on Glenn Wagstaff's Heart of Influence?
Truly thankful just to be here and then getting to meet with everyone. And I think one thing that worked for me specifically as a participant, I got to see myself put in a different situation that I wasn't expecting. But Bella, through your role play, there's something that I try to practice, which is APAC, the acknowledge, probe, ask, and confirm, which you absolutely did in the role play. So that's where I'm looking to be as I keep doing this and keep growing. So it was great to see it live in person through this call.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Juan. And I've learned a lot, being here at at Unblinded. So thank you for that. And let's go, Travis, kicking us off into the participant seat, which is probably the hardest role of the entire show, but doing a phenomenal job. Yes, round of applause for you. And Travis, how was your time on Glenn Wagstaff's Heart of Influence?
It was great. I really enjoyed the collective inspiration and the constructive feedback, and also getting the opportunity to observe you and Glenn, and to learn different methods and different ways I can apply different philosophies and ways of conducting and engaging in that format. So I really thought that the feedback and everyone's like positive energy was definitely powerful.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Travis. And again, phenomenal job kicking us off into the participant seats. And Mr. Glenn Wagstaff, you and your team put this group together today, and your final on your Heart of Influence.
Yeah, well, none of you were chosen by accident. We invited you on purpose, and we want to continue conversations. And I think this was a great experience, just hearing from Travis, hearing from Juan, and hearing from each of you some of the feedback. We'd love to continue the conversation, so we're going to have our team reach out and set up a time that we can, follow up and maybe continue the conversation from here. And appreciate getting to know each of you. And Bella, thank you for everything that you've done today.
Yes, thank you, Glenn. And yes, everyone in Final is this show is very intentional and it is about connecting. We've had $1 million deals come out of the Heart of Influence, and Glenn and his team put a lot of energy and effort into deciding and selecting who's going to be here. So definitely connect with each other, definitely connect with Glenn to see where those conversations can go. What are the next steps? What business can be done? Otherwise, it's just another hour that you had some fun. And we as Unblinded have some gifts for you as well in the chat. Definitely take a look at those, because I talk to people after the show all the time and I'm like, oh, did you click the link? They're like, no, I didn't really get to it. So definitely we have a couple of gifts for you. One is our group influence book, and that book has in it everything that I just did. Everything I did go from hello to yes. John created a formula of 4 energies, 4 steps, and 12 indispensable elements. And it is all in that book in a modelable way. So definitely download that book. And then we also have a webinar coming up with Allison Armstrong, Men, Money, and Wealth, I think it is. Glenn's
men, women, and wealth.
Yes, there we go. Men, women, and wealth. Thank you, Glenn. Men, women, and wealth with the one and only Allison Armstrong. That is coming up next month. So definitely check that out as well. And lastly, you can have a business acceleration session with one of our team members. It's not something that we do any selling on that. It really is a gift that we have for you guys, where one of our team members will walk through maybe how you could do more together, how you could do more with people on this call. So thank you all for being here. Glenn, phenomenal job. Everybody, phenomenal job. And we always end every show by saying, while Sean may be physically blind, we are all blind to the opportunities right in front of us and just learning to see. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.